So after some legal issues and claims that this film was a stolen version of a film called Better Half that actually was never released, Together is finally hitting theaters next week. And it is a wild one. Together is the new horror film from Neon and the first feature from director Michael Shanks. Also written by Shanks, the film stars real-life husband and wife duo Dave Franco and Alison Brie as Tim and Millie. They're a couple who've been together for 4 years who decide to move out to a rural city a few hours from New York because Millie has just accepted a teaching position at a local school there. And Tim, who's a 37-year-old aspiring rock star who still hasn't made it yet, decides to make the move with her. While exploring the woods where they now live, they fall into a cave where inside there is a church bell with a strange symbol and church pews scattered around. And while inside, Tim decides to drink from a pool in the cave and causing a supernatural force that binds Tim and Millie together. What comes after is one of the wildest and most bizarre horror love stories of all time. Together is a very well-written, smart, fun film that dives into the issue of codependency and how we can lose a part of ourselves when we are in a committed relationship with someone. That feeling of not being complete without them, but at the same time feel trapped with that same person that you love so much. The film shows you the push and the pull, the back and the forth of wanting to be committed to somebody, but wanting to still be your own person. It deals with how we rely on each other in a relationship in healthy and unhealthy ways. In relationships, we tend to take on each other's traits and mannerisms. The film is sort of a slow build up to the body horror element of the film, which makes sense because to understand the horror element, you really need to understand the relationship between these two characters, and Shanks does an amazing job. You see the little fights that the couple have and the way that they interact with each other in the relationship that tease up what's to come. Shanks writes a great setup for all the crazy that he throws at you in the second and third act. He sets the stage with a very awkward marriage proposal between Millie and Tim that isn't rejected, but accepted in a more of a matter-of-fact way. It gives the audience a great idea of how stale the relationship has become. They've become used to each other, and they're, at this point, just going through the motions. They are holding on to each other very tightly, but at times, they loosen their grip. When Jamie, who is another teacher from a school Millie works at, drops by, Tim is immediately jealous and territorial. When Jamie tries to refill Millie's glass of wine, Tim automatically grabs the bottle and does it for him and gives him this, weird stare, while still feeling trapped in the relationship. It was a weird kind of contrast to this emotional situation that he's in. Dave Franco and Alison Brie are what makes this film work so well. I personally think they are absolutely fantastic actors, but there's something special going on here, I think because they're married in real life. Their relationship feels so authentic, and I think because of their real life marriage, it makes it work really well. They know how to play off each other, and every scene where they fight or have these emotional moments felt so authentic. Even the scenes where they're being playful with each other felt so organic, and you could feel the real love and chemistry that they feel for each other in real life on screen. Or they're just absolutely amazing actors. More husband and wife actors should do more love stories together. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Smith was And this film is a love story, by the way. I think more than a horror story. I felt more emotionally for these characters than fear. There are some scares in the film and some gory body horror, but for the most part, it's these two characters that really bring you into the film. The scares are mostly jump scares, which I'm not a big fan of. I think they're kind of cheap and easy ways to get people to jump and get scared, I guess. But apparently people like being scared that way now. I don't scare easily, so I didn't find this film very scary at all, but it does have some disturbing imagery that leaves the theater with you, and it looks fantastic, by the way. I do love these creative, smart horror films that bring an interesting, entertaining twist to a genre notorious for cliches. I love these new ideas and quirky storylines, like the 2024 Caroline Lindy film, Your Monster, which I loved, but didn't see much of at the box office, so I'm glad that Together is getting the recognition that it deserves. The set design combined with the cinematography makes it feel haunted and gritty at times. There's a great scene that represents the bond between the two while Franco is in the shower and Millie is driving in her car. Both overhead shots that, when edited together, look and feel absolutely amazing. And the sound design is insane. There's another shot of Millie trying to get through a door where on the other side, Tim is on the floor in terror that works so well because of the editing and the set design and the sound design and the cinematography, all doing the exact right thing at the right time to pull off this wild sequence. And again, speaking of sound design, this was one of my favorite examples of how you do sound design in horror film. Every little bang or drip or crack or little small exaggerated sound really brings the film to life. The explanation of why this supernatural thing is going on was, I thought, smart, using Plato's dialogue on oneness with someone. But when it goes beyond that, it feels like a little too much explanation and sort of a quick exposition dump. It wasn't horrible, but movies, especially in the horror genre, have a real hard time telling you the why behind something in a way that feels rushed or inauthentic. I really appreciated the practical effects in this film, and I hope that this is a sign that they are making a comeback. They feel so much more realistic than the digital effects that saturate the market right now. Even the final scene of this film, with the digital effects that they chose to go with, weren't convincing to me, even though the scene itself is disturbingly beautiful. I don't know. The end of the film, I liked and wasn't expecting. I honestly thought that it would end one way, and it went a whole different way altogether. That was, I thought, a great choice for a film like this. The writing in this film is so well done. You have a great balance of the weight you feel from this complicated relationship, the fear of losing that person, and the fear of getting too close. You also get some really fun, funny moments that at times are even during the horror element, that like a scene with Tim and Millie in the elementary boys' bathroom. This film is pretty straightforward. You know what you're going to get, you know where it's going, and you know the message of the film pretty much when it starts. It's pretty direct and doesn't give you a ton of mystery, but I didn't mind it because I loved watching these two characters so much. This film is really a lot of fun. It's a really fun one-off date night movie for couples who are into love stories, horror, psychological story arcs, and comedies to a certain extent. It does have a few gross out moments, but there wasn't anything that just grossed me out completely. It was more, I think, about the suspense. Together is a really fun time at the movies with great performances from Dave Franco and Alison Brie. They are the reason that I really enjoyed this movie. Not to take away from the great writing and the fantastic sound design and cinematography, this is a great date night for any couple who isn't squeamish. I'm giving Together 4 stars out of 5 for all these reasons. It officially opens in theaters July 30th. It is rated R for bloody horror, language, some nudity, and some intense scary moments, so maybe not for everyone. It is a wild, fun experience, though. If you've seen Together early like I did, either at South by Southwest or a premiere screening, let me know your thoughts on this film. And I should have said this before, but it is a film to watch in a theater with other people. It'll be so much more fun. Trust me on this. Like and subscribe for all the latest movie reviews. And remember, don't wait till it streams. Let's go to the theater and let's see it together. Maybe not like this together, but together.
Whiskey for the pain.